Thank God. You guys lost. I'm so happy. I am so happy. Guys, Inter is out.
He's more happy that Inter is out than Milan.
Yeah, we out, but you out. You guys were supposed to win the whole thing. The triplete, guys.
Nobody was supposed to win the triplete.
Somebody, you out of the campionato. You out of the Coppa Italia. And guess what? Guess what?
What?
Most likely, you're going to be out of even of the UEFA Championship, right? The Scudetto.
Europa,
The Scudetto, they out. They have no chance.
Oh, you're... What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Serie A audio experience with IFTV. Our first episode back in the studio. Antonio, how you doing, Antonio?
All right, I'm still alive.
You came back with a lot of energy already. We've gotten a lot discussed. People saw on Instagram stories and stuff. I think you've been waiting for this moment for a little while now, right?
Instagram story. I didn't do any story. I just did a Panino story today with my friend
Sabino
Curcio. Oh my God! I'll tell you, guys, if you've never been on that store, the sandwich are spectacular. To die for.
Anthony and Sons, yeah.
The only problem.
Oh, it's open?
Yeah. Well, it's open, but they do curbside.
Okay.
The only problem with the place is that Sabino is an Inter fan. If that guy was an AC Milan fan,
Makes the place even better.
well, for you.
But
for
what
you.
about your mask?
I
What kind of mask
Hey.
you got? What is that?
I don't want to scare you.
Is that AC Milan?
That's not going to
mask?
protect you, man.
Oh, all right.
AC Milan.
All right, this is as close as I get to Milan, okay?
And what is that?
It's a Milano cookie.
Oh, Milano cookie.
Yeah.
Listen, do me a favor. Thank God he's sitting over there. Otherwise, I would have just swing at your father.
I have a question though. It was the first time you went.
Yeah.
Did you go because Inter got knocked out?
What
Was that part of it?
I wanted to rub it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to rub it in, but I was working on Williamsburg, so I called Sabino. I said, "Hey, Sabino, you think I can come in for a sandwich?" But the only problem is he's stubborn. He didn't want me. He insisted for me not to pay. But so now I told him. I said, "When you're coming back to Brooklyn to the studio, you're gonna have to accept anything that is on the table over here. We're gonna poison the cookies for you.
The guy gives you a free sandwich and you're gonna poison it.
Well, no, we're gonna put some AC Milan essence inside. So maybe by eating the cookies, he's gonna change his mind. He's gonna become an AC Milan fan."
I think that's how it works. Science.
Well, you know what? You can work on Sabino. Sabino can change his mind. He's not like stubborn like Peter. But the sandwich guy's out of this world.
Now, if you're in New York, you gotta have those sandwiches. Are
Oh
ridiculous.
my God.
They're ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, guys, it's good to be back. Calcio finally back. It felt like so long that we lacked what we've been waiting for, and it came back very exciting with lots of content and lots of things to talk to. Antonio's been here for like 30 minutes, and to get him to stop talking about what happened has been difficult. So I know that's where we want to start first. It was a game with a lot more. It was more exciting, definitely more lively, more chances. And what's really funny, what surprised me the most, I was getting ready to come on here and say Inter was the best team out of the four to play. They were the only team that looked like they had some life in them, that they had some energy, that they weren't as sloppy, and somehow Inter is the team that gets knocked out that was playing. So, what? I'm wrong?
No, you're right. And they deserve to be knocked down.
They
They
deserve
knocked
to be.
out. Yeah.
Well,
That's
they ended up scoring early, 3 minutes in. A very strange goal, which we had some debate on who was to blame on it. But then Inter didn't do enough. Napoli, on their first real chance, Insigne laid it off to Mertens, who broke the goal-scoring record for Napoli. It's actually a historic goal, all-time goal scorer over Maradona last time, and now Hamsik. And huge victory. Gattuso's men going to the final. First of all, Peter, how do you feel as an Inter fan? Because we did a live stream, which we're doing live streams for all of the Serie A games and all the Coppa Italia games. We'll be doing on Wednesday on our Twitch and our YouTube. After the match, you were
I would
not
love
the
to see
Happiest.
Peter's face, man.
I have
Too bad
videos.
I was not. Oh, you got videos?
Yeah,
I would love to see that. You know, guess who's laughing about that? Hey, Vanda, you're still laughing. I'm sure you do.
Peter?
Okay.
No, I
How do you
mean,
feel now? A couple days cool off.
no, definitely, as you said it, right? You say, okay, Inter is probably out of all the four teams played the best football coming off of a 3 months hiatus, right? Not being able to play, players, you don't know how they're going to react coming back. What I like, I'm going to have the pros and cons, right? What I like was the fact that we were able to see Eriksen finally play in
So impressed.
Inter's midfield. He played a 3-4-1-2 variation from what he usually plays, and it worked. And it worked that you can tell Inter kept majority of possession. They had the most chances. You know, they were able to play a style of football and not get hurt from, let's say, adding maybe a more attacking midfielder than having that three-man midfield. That being said, I agree with you. We were talking a little bit before the podcast. Certain players didn't necessarily show up, and one in particular was Lautaro, who kind of felt that, you know, whenever he had the ball, he didn't really do anything with it. And it was just disappointing because if he's going to be like one of that top leader or top goal scorer, or, you know, the Lukaku, Lautaro mix, you have to do more. So even though we had the possession, we had the chances, we were saying, very predictable. Everything is always the same or very similar movement. Nothing happens by, you know, a player. You know, Eriksen also, you would say, okay, he has to create something, and he didn't. But I don't blame him. I can't blame him. I blame more Lautaro, who's been here for the whole year. But that being said, listen, you can't do much. You have to make the chances. Ospina made some great saves. Could we have scored another goal? We should have. And like I said, I was disappointed then. I'm disappointed now because we didn't make the final. This is something that, you know, with the team that we have, we should be making the final.
So far, you're 2 out of 3. And now you're getting the 3 play. Maybe if you don't win the Campionato or the Coppa Italia, it's going to be 3 out of 3. So it's a 3 play in a different way, but it's a 3 play, right? That's what you guys shooting for all the time.
So Milan every year they get.
By the way, at the beginning of the season, you said that Inter was going to win everything.
First of all, I didn't ask you a question. First of all, mind your own business. I'm going to get to you.
Anyway,
okay?
I want to. I think I agree that out of the 4 teams, Inter was the one that impressed me the most.
First half, at least, I should say. First half
First
and
20
the last
minutes,
20
that's
and
it.
the last 20 minutes.
The first half. I mean, they pressed high.
Yeah.
No other team pressed high.
Yeah.
You know, they were all the way up, and I think they were doing everything right. They had possession. They were taking shots. They had chances. They scored a goal. They could have gone up 2-0. I was very, very upset with Candreva because Candreva had the ball to give it to Eriksen, and Eriksen, he just had to tap it in. I mean,
And that led to...
and that was the corner kick, and then from the corner kick, Ospina gave that ball. So Inter was doing everything right up to that point, and then Candreva, which I don't think is an Inter player. What happened on that play, what I can understand is you're going for a corner kick. Okay, so you got 2 big guys that want to go both for a corner kick, but you didn't even have one defender. You know who was chasing? Who was chasing Insigne?
Eriksen.
Yeah.
Eriksen was chasing Insigne. Eriksen is a number 10. The guy was chasing Insigne. And then you had Young on the other side, which is not a pure defender. So you didn't even have one defender on that play. So that's what I blame Inter. I think everything else they did well. I like Eriksen. I think Eriksen was one of the best players on the field. I like his touch. I like his technique. I like his shot. I like the way he thinks.
Wow.
And I think he's got creativity. When they make the substitutions with Moses, Sanchez, and
Biraghi.
Biraghi is not that. But with Sanchez and Moses, I thought they brought up a little bit more creativity, a little bit more energy, and they had the chance again with Eriksen to score another goal. So I enjoyed the game. The game was nice. It was, Napoli played what they had to play. Mm-hmm. They stayed at midfield. They waited for them at midfield. They didn't have to score. But once they had to score, they went on a counterattack. And good job by Insigne and Mertens to score that goal.
Insigne was very smart on that play, by the way. He pushes, if you really watch it, he puts his body in front of Eriksen so that either he's keeping the ball or Eriksen's going to foul him and get a penalty. So obviously, Insigne is a class player. But anyway, Antonio, I think everybody wants to hear. What are your thoughts on Inter
let me just
failing out of the Coppa Italia?
Let me just start with, being the best pressing team, he had most of the ball possession, and then they were aggressive 3/4 of the time. That doesn't win you game. You've seen Barcelona. Now Lautaro is going to be leaving a team that has all this possession and join another team, Barcelona, that has all the same kind of a possession and pressing. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it's going to be a perfect fit for him. The best thing that you guys can do is just get rid of this guy here. This guy's a waste. Tell you why. All of a sudden, his stock is going to go down. Look what you guys have done with Icardi. Icardi is the killer. Icardi, you give 1 ball or 2 balls. He's going to put 1 in. This Lautaro, he's a tricky guy. If he's on a hot day, even when he shoots the ball outside, the ball goes in. But when you need him, he's a choker. End of the story. And Conte, I saw the press conference. I was enjoying watching it. It's always just moving his shoulder. It's like, hey, never takes the blame. He didn't put He had Sensi. No, this guy here is going to bring another midfielder, one of the top of the line, because I even heard Pirlo raving about this guy here, Tonali. And you're going to bring another midfielder in to join. It's going to be Tonali. It's going to be Brozovic. Then it's going to be Barella. It's going to be Sensi, Sanchez, and Eriksen. So you have 6 or
And
7.
now they're talking about Vidal.
And
Vidal is linking himself with
So in
that.
other words, you're going to fill up all your team with full of midfielders. And like Gaetano said, Eriksen is supposed to be defending on Insigne, on the goal that the Napoli, the equalizer. You guys is not, I mean, Conte is not all together up here. The guy, to me, it's not Gasperini, and it's not even a great coach, because, you know, you should have said, I take full blame for the Inter elimination. But he said, he kept deflating the question. I said, hey, but, you know, out of the 2 legs, we deserve to win, and this, we create a lot more. Who cares? Are you in or you out? You out.
For sure.
That is one of the criticisms that I will say about Conte, and it's something that we knew at Juventus. It's after he does not handle the media well. It's been no surprise. Anyone who watched him at Juventus, he always had a problem with getting over emotional. We saw after the Barcelona, was it Barcelona? No, the Dortmund game, where he throws his players under the bus sometimes, where it's not the right thing to do. And, you know, even now this morning, they're talking about, he's saying, I need better players. I need players who have won. I need players who are this and that. And the only question mark that I have is that I keep seeing Inter linked with all of these center midfielders. You know, Tonali, Vidal, who are legitimate rumors. Tonali's definitely legit. But I'm saying to myself, the wingbacks are still so questionable to me. I agree with you. Candreva is nowhere near to be playing for Inter. Nowhere near. And I did like when Moses came in. When Moses came in, at least Inter had some energy.
Right.
And even Sanchez, too. There was some energy added to the team where I felt like it was a little bit too little too late. They came in at a time where things were not going their way. And I agree with the criticism on Lautaro. It seems like his head maybe... I think it's a little bit over-exaggerated, what people are saying. They're saying, oh, look, he's not worth 111 million. Listen, it's one game. But his mind does seem a little bit preoccupied, which is kind of understandable as a 20-something-year-old. But if you have a 111 million price tag, you expect him to perform.
Listen, Marco, let me just say one more thing, Pete, and then you can... Gaetano, you and I, we're outsider, right? Pete is the Inter fan of here. It has nothing to do with the fact that we hate Inter winning anything, so it has nothing to do with that. But if you have to judge Lautaro and Icardi in terms of technical, and intelligence, forget about the speed. Speed, yeah, will help you sometime. But if you're not smart, you're not gonna conquer. You're not gonna just.
I think everybody will.
Let me just say that. Let me just say that. You gave up on Icardi. Icardi is so smart. He is so smart. I would have done anything just to keep somebody like that. Okay. Again, goes back to the point that said, why Cassano didn't go all the way. What did he do, Icardi? What did he do to deserve to be sacked and to be sent to PSG? He went from $110 million to be sold for $50 million. 60. Okay, $60 million. Someone is not clicking over here. It's either Marotta or it's Conte. I know Conte has been handcuffed, and he said, you don't say a word because you're going to be the next one to go. So Conte will, I think, if he's got any brain, he will have kept Icardi. Because to me, Icardi is by far much better than Lukaku and much better than Lautaro.
Conte said that Icardi and Nainggolan were already done. They were already not going to be part of the project by the time he got it.
He was sad to say that.
No, he's saying that it's not my decision to keep them. It wasn't Conte's decision. He said the Inter made a decision based off their actions in the past.
That's very poor management. And this is I applaud Marotta. I said, Marotta, thank you, because you're going to be the one that we're going to thank for Inter not winning it.
Anyway.
Please keep that guy.
Anyway, it's old news. It's old news. But
no, but to address the...
Yeah.
I'll address his later, but
Lautaro.
for you, right?
Oh.
No, going to Lautaro. So Lautaro, what I think, as you said, the management should be more firm in what's going on, because I think his head is definitely in Barcelona.
Already.
You know,
Which
and
is
it's probably not as
understandable.
exact.
No,
It's probably
It's not.
as...
You don't talk about that stuff before the end of the Campeonato. You don't do that.
Well, it's been 3 months without doing anything.
Pirlo even spoke about how when Real Madrid was interested, he said, my mind was already in Madrid.
Yeah.
It's understandable. Anyway, sorry.
So, but I mean, the management has to come out and say, we want Lautaro, or keep it in a different direction, you know? Obviously, Marotta's come out and said, listen, you pay the buyout clause by July. That's when you do that. He's your player. I wish he would have took another stance maybe to come out and seem more firm. So that way at least give a clear message to Lautaro and also to the fans, because now you create this controversy. That's one. Two, as far as going after Tonali is considered by most, and Pirlo in particular, probably the best midfielder for Italy for a long time. So you have a young talent like that. That's an opportunity, especially if you have the chance to get him. You get him. Even for right now, okay, where during the Champions League, Inter lost.
They're
both.
not in the Champions
Hold on.
League.
I said during the Champions
Oh,
League.
during the Champions League.
They lost both Barella and Sensi. And we had a major problem with not having enough skill in the midfield.
Oh, no Sanchez. Sanchez got no more skills.
Sanchez,
right now.
first of all, doesn't play
Brozovic
center
doesn't have
midfield.
any more skills.
Brozovic was the only one.
Listen to me. Listen
Okay?
to me.
So that was that.
Okay. All right. Go finish
And
up.
then going to your point about Icardi's situation, and I don't want to jump on it because it's done and over. But but the season prior, there was a lot of problems in the locker room with management, and they made a decision there, which I applaud.
Who's they?
Who's they? Inter made the decision as management.
Inter. There's only two people. Who's they?
Doesn't matter. As management, they decided we do not want Icardi. We're gonna sell our losses.
Let's move on. We spoke about this a lot. Anything else? Anything you want to add to the conversation about Lautaro and about Conte?
What do you think
What
about
about
Icardi?
Conte saying that he needs
the
better
only thing
players?
that I would add is, somebody's 20 years old. Wait until the end of the season for the,
Right.
because this kid,
Unprofessional.
This kid now is 100 million, and I think that it's.
Montato la testa.
Yeah, it's a diversion from
Yeah, I
from you lose concentration on what you're there right now. You're an Inter player. You do the best for Inter. When the season is over, then you take.
I agree.
And
I
you make
do
a-
agree
an-
with
an-
Peter
decisions.
and you. I agree with you guys. And maybe Marotta shouldn't have said, "Oh, just pay the fee and then it's done."
Right.
Because guess what? It expires. I think July 6th or July 7th. So that's right around the corner. It's not that far. So there's very important games in a very short amount of time. And like you guys said, I think you need to be on it. I want to credit Napoli and I want to credit Gattuso. Who Gattuso, obviously so much criticism coming into him taking over for Napoli, and I think he's been a breath of fresh air for what Napoli had needed. And I'm not going to say that, listen, they didn't play beautiful football, but you said it perfectly. He did what he had to do to win the game. At the end of the day, whatever you have at your disposal, whatever tactics you want to do, you have to go out and win the game. It might not be beautiful. It might not have been beautiful. But guess what? They played smart. They played the way that they had to play, and they got the result. And this is multiple times that Gattuso has been able to get this. He dedicated it to his sister who passed away. And I'm very, very happy. And I'm constantly rooting for Gattuso. I find myself rooting for Gattuso a little bit because the chip on my shoulder of he was wrongly sacked at AC Milan and some of the fans were saying that he wasn't good enough. Where look what he's doing now in a tough situation. So I'm very happy. Congratulations to Gattuso, to Mertens who broke the record. A guy who could have been at Inter. A lot of people were saying he's going to join Inter. Stayed. Legend at Naples. So for all of Napoli, by the way, this is massive. It's massive because it's their opportunity from such a bad season. When Ancelotti left, Ludovico was saying, I just pray that it could be May. We didn't know what May was going to hold for us at that time, but they just wanted the season to be over. And guess what? If they could go on and win the Coppa Italia, and I think they have a 50-50 shot at winning the Coppa Italia, that would be amazing for such a bad season.
Especially with Sarri guiding the Juventus.
Yeah, even more so. Yeah.
Listen, this is
so
another
credit to them.
Yeah. So
Credit
first
to
of
Gattuso
all,
and
let's
Napoli.
talk about Gattuso. For me, Napoli wins against the eliminating Inter. It's like I see part of the AC Milan into the equation of that because Gattuso is an AC Milan icon. So it's like, oh, thank you. Hey, nothing personal, Pete. I like you as a brother.
Very personal.
I like you as a brother. Thank God you guys lost. I'm so happy. I am so happy, guys. Inter is out.
He's more happy that Inter is out than Milan.
Yeah, we out, but you out. You out, but we out. We're spending a lot less money than what you guys do.
Okay.
You guys were supposed to win the whole thing. The triplete, guys.
Nobody
right?
was supposed to win triplete.
Somebody, you wanted the campionato. You wanted the Coppa Italia, and guess what?
What?
Most likely you're going to be out of even of the UEFA Championship, right? The
Europa-
Scudetto, they out. They have no
League.
chance.
Oh, you're
Lazio is much better than them. Even Atalanta. I think Atalanta might just do some damage to them. They got nothing.
Last thing I want to say about the Inter match. There was this thing that went viral about Conte's big matches for Inter this season. I'll just read them off. Against Lazio, the first game he won. He beat Lazio 1-0. Then lost to Barcelona. Lost to Juventus. They beat Dortmund. Then lost to Dortmund. Tied to Roma, lost to Barca, tied Atalanta, lost to Lazio, lost to Juve, lost to Napoli, and then what happened?
Hey,
knocked out of the Coppa Italia.
That's
against
bad.
Napoli.
That is bad.
There's just some question marks about maybe Conte in the big matches.
Marco, $110 million for this guy here.
Conte. We're
Conte. Oh, I'm sorry, 11
makes
million.
11 million.
No, what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
11
That's what I
million,
meant to say.
Okay, yeah.
$11 million
figured
to pay a motivator. This guy's not a coach. Okay? As I was saying before, the guy is not even capable to copy the Gasperini philosophy. He's been using this 3-5-2. If you got a copy, you have to know the copy. You have to know the copy. just put a picture down. I said, okay, 3, 5, 2. Put a piece of yellow trace right on top, and I said, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then trace it out. Trace it. Stay inside of the line. Copy, put the stuff where it's supposed to be. He's not capable. Copy is an art. So if you're not even good at copying, you're just not into the business of coaching. That's the end of the story. This Conte has got no business. He's a loser. He's a loser at $11 million. $11 million, guys. Ask Gaetano the way I motivate my Brooklyn Italian. I'm yelling at them. I am yelling at them, guys. My guts, they spill out. Okay?
I got to deal with him. Anyway, as far as Conte is concerned, I think, it takes time to change the team. I think he made a lot of changes this year, and I think he's doing, as best as he could have done. Of course, he could have gone through on the Coppa Italia, but you can't do everything in one season. So you have to give him some time. He's got a 3-year contract, so you got to give him, at least a couple of years to bring his mentality. It doesn't work that way, the way you say it. As far as Napoli is concerned, I think that Napoli's got that fire inside that Gattuso brings. So some of the players, they'll give their hearts out because of Gattuso, and they were playing. He dedicated the game to his sister. So that's what Gattuso is all about. It's creating that fire inside,
So
and
the rubber band is working?
So far.
Go ahead.
and creating, and fighting until the last minute of the game. So I'm glad for him, and I'm glad for Napoli that he was able to transmit that to some of the players. I'm glad for Mertens, who's doing very well. I would like to talk about Milik, but I don't know if we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah, we will.
Later, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Isn't
I'll
Milik going to Inter?
I'll mention it later.
Hey, they get everything.
Okay.
Anything that comes out,
All right,
has
go
to
ahead.
to Inter. Has to go
You
to
wanna
Inter.
go to
One last thing to conclude. Do you think the rumors are this morning that Conte is saying he needs better players? Do you think they're justified to be able to win or no? Just quick. I don't want to get caught up on
It's
that.
highly unjustifiable. It's a disgrace to me. Even the idea that with the squad that he has right now, he's supposed to have the best defenders. Skriniar, Bastoni, De Vrij, Andanovic. That's like the Berlin Wall or just the China Wall.
The only player that I don't like at Inter is Candreva.
Okay.
The rest of the team,
Yeah.
I think, is
capable.
Is pretty solid everywhere.
Yeah, it's a solid team. But then if you look at Juventus's team, I mean,
But you're
I
not
understand
playing against
midfield.
Juventus right now.
Not
You're
saying
playing against Napoli.
Yeah, not against Napoli is
Yeah.
one thing, but as far as you want to play for the Scudetto, you have to be able to match up. So I mean, you said it. The wing backs, Ashley Young has filled the void.
Yeah, he's not
been
been that
good,
bad.
but
He's
he's
not been
not.
that bad.
But it's not what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need. When you can see
I feel you.
a
I
caliber
feel you.
of players. So there's always room to improve.
Yeah.
Listen, every team's job is to improve every game. And then if I could just make one comment about the
Yes.
game. So listen, in the end, the results matter. But if Inter wins 2-1, we would be here talking, why did Gattuso play so defensive?
Yeah,
Napoli has
100%.
some players they should have been able to.
But
so,
if doesn't count anything in soccer, did you win? No. So the bottom line is this,
You're right,
Pete.
you're right.
The bottom line is this.
Okay, yeah, bottom line.
Your players.
no, go back to the point.
The
What he
point
said.
that this guy is trying to make, what you guys need. You guys have the team. The team is there. You don't put it on the field. You don't leave it on the field. And that is very poor management. It's Conte. Conte is the playing. He's the one that's shaking. I was watching the press conference. Kept shaking the shoulder. You know what this means, the body language of shaking your shoulder? It means that this is a bunch of losers that I have. And this is the reasons why we don't win the game and we don't win anything. Instead of taking the blame on himself.
But that's actually
The body language is
he
this.
did say that he was happy the way the players performed.
Yeah, but if
he
you
was
see
happy on the performance.
One thing is saying, because he kept deflecting Tardelli's question. Once you've been asked, hey, by the way, what is the color over there? Red or white? He says, on the right is red and the left is white. He kept deflecting the question. He kept saying, all his body language shows, hey, listen, we created more than Napoli and we definitely deserve to go this and to go that.
Okay.
So what?
Maybe it's colorblind.
But the bottom line is...
All right. Bottom line. Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
At 11 million
Euros.
11 million euros. That's not a
Okay.
justification.
I agree.
All right, go
Is
ahead.
that for a year or for 3 years? They got 11 million for 1
3 years.
3 years, 11 million?
Each year, 11.
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh my God.
the last thing. I just saying. I think that I agree with you. Just besides the fullbacks, I don't think you could really complain. And if you go position by position, goalkeeper very good, defense supposed to be very good, center midfield is very good, and attack is regarded as very good. So just the fullbacks. And I think if you're comparing to Juventus, maybe one thing. When you talk about losing to Dortmund and Atalanta and Napoli and Lazio, I don't think that. I think that on paper you could say that Inter has better teams than them. Anyway, let's move on. Juventus against Milan. Much more boring match. These teams, they look like they haven't played in 3 months. They were tired, boring football, in my opinion, at least. The match kind of got ruined after the 17th minute. Juventus were attacking, Milan were defending. Juventus were awarded a penalty kick after a handball from Conte. I believe it was Conte. Ronaldo gets his penalty saved. If we watch the replay and you check the slow-mo, Donnarumma gets his hands to it, a fingertip. Not sure how much of a difference it made, but he definitely touched the ball. I know some people were saying he didn't. And Donnarumma was, first of all, brilliant at saving penalty kicks. I even said it beforehand. I said Donnarumma was very good at saving these. The reach that he has on his arms, I think it forces the player to have to push it even closer to the corner, which could screw them up and end up changing the way that they have to kick the ball. So Donnarumma's brilliant.
Say it. That is the best goalkeeper of the world. Say it. Don't be afraid.
I wouldn't say he's the best goalkeeper of the world. I think in Serie A, there's definitely the argument of it.
What happened?
Okay. Anyway, Ronaldo misses the penalty. It only lasted, I think, 11 seconds, where Rebic, high foot, straight into Danilo, red card. Milan go down to 10 men, and the game was basically over. There was not much that happened. Even from Juventus, I didn't think it was impressive. Yes, they held possession. Yes, technically they had chances, but were there any real creative chances? Were there anything that really troubled Milan? In my opinion, no. I don't think they did enough. Worst game I've ever seen from Cristiano Ronaldo. It's proof that he's human. I never thought that I could see Ronaldo have such a bad game. Worst game I've ever seen. It was shocking to me that he played that way. And again, human, I understand. But yeah, not really much else to say, in my opinion, at least about the match. Milan were not expected to go to the final. If they did go to the final, it would have been big. But they weren't expected to go to the final. Juventus, it was a formality more so to get there.
The best discussion was brought by your father, because your father said that there got to be some sort of a system that we are just penalizing the team to play short because of this straight red or a double yellow. So let's give him a time penalty. In other words, you stay out, or if you have to be being thrown out of the game, let somebody else come in, like a time penalty, like a 5 minutes minor or 10 minutes minor, the way they're doing it in the hockey. Okay, so I said, okay, let's do that, because I think it's a discussion that somebody is going to start to bring in. Because in a game like that, you play in the semifinal, you play a final, you're debilitating a team by just
No, my argument was that once Rebic went out, the game was over, because what happened is AC Milan, now all 10 players went back, and the game, it got so boring. So I brought it up that if you get a red card, you should be able to bring in another player. And
I think it's a great idea.
I had some of my friends that are actually, they've been following soccer for 40, 50 years. They are the purists, and some of them, they like the idea. They thought it was a good idea. I was a little bit taken, because I was talking about the young audience that IFTV has, and I was talking to them to see maybe this would be a good idea for them. But also some of my other friends, they said, oh, yeah, this could be a good idea. Anyway, going back to the game, I thought that...
You really split people, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
There was either people that said, wow, that's actually a really good idea, or there were people who were asking what you were smoking and how are you so crazy for thinking something like that.
And the ones that were saying what I was smoking, are they young or are they...
Mixed. It was pretty mixed. There was some older that were saying... Gaetano was locked in a lockdown for too long. He was inside for too long. and some of the younger guys were asking where you were smoking.
But we planted the seeds at least.
It's a great idea. We're open for discussion
an
on
idea.
IFTV. Right, you can bring it up and we can have, different ideas.
I like that you brought it up.
And you can, you can have your own ideas.
To me, it's an excellent idea. I mean, I rarely happen to agree with him, but this was
You know what the problem is with that? It's even I had it. When you first said it, we've been watching football for our whole lives, then immediately you want to say no. You want to say no, it shouldn't be changed. But then when you start to think about it, the pure essence of the game, I do understand it. And I'm not saying that you do it overnight. I think a better medium to start, this is what I thought about it afterwards. I said, first thing we should do is limit the amount of red cards and yellow cards more. It's too easy to get a card today in football. It's too soft. I think we start working on that, start limiting them and see where it is. But I definitely think it's an idea. It's very radical. It's very crazy. But guess what? A couple of years ago, to say VAR, I said it on the live stream. I had to give a persuasion speech in college, and I used video replay but this was like years ago. Every football fan inside the class was so mad. They said, this is ridiculous. It ruins the game. It's not organic. All the Americans in the class, like the guys that didn't watch football, my teacher was like, this makes so much sense. How is it not like that? They said, I can't even see an argument for there not to be a replay. And then we learned to adapt. So it's not a thing that overnight you're saying to do, but it's a discussion.
I remember the VAR, and I remember Tardelli talking about, oh my God, he was so against VAR, I couldn't tell you. And then, and most of the purists and the people that play soccer said, no, absolutely not. And now, 5 years later, 6 years later, now all of a sudden, it's the best thing. Oh, we cannot live without VAR. Anyway, I want to go back to the game. The first 20 minutes for Juventus, they were very good. They had chances. Matuidi had a chance. Douglas Costa took a shot, which went a few inches off the goal. So they were playing. And then once the red card, to me, the game got very boring. But something that I want to bring up with Juventus. So they tried to put Ronaldo as a center forward. Okay, so when you talk about Juventus, every position that they have another player, which is very good for every position, from the goalie to the wings, to the defender, to the midfielder. They got so many. They also have so many.
A lot of players, but not quality.
So, but whenever somebody goes out, somebody else can go in.
It's just a fact.
Except the center forward. So Higuain is out, and now you don't have a center forward. So now they try to invent and put Ronaldo center forward. And Ronaldo is not a center forward. He likes to start from the left, far away from the goal, and then he goes in like he did at Real Madrid when Benzema was the center forward. And then both of them, they could do the 1-2, and then he goes inside. And if Benzema will come out of the area, then Ronaldo will go in. That's the way Ronaldo likes to play. So this number 9, they tried. I don't think it works. And, what happened to
Dybala?
Dybala, he was all the way on the right, and then he left, he went right, he went this.
He still played a decent game with Dybala. But AC Milan defenders on him all the time. So.
I know, but at times he was too far back. I mean, I don't like it. So what does... they're looking for a center forward. I think Icardi is finished. Is not. Yeah. Icardi is done. So who do you get as a center forward? And that's where the name Milik came up. That possibly he could be a center forward. Looking at the numbers of Milik, they say that per minute, based on the number of games that he played and the minutes that he plays and the number of goals that he scored, he is very, very high. He's better than most of the other players in Naples. So he scores. When he's in, he scores. But Milik has a problem. He gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, 2 ACL surgeries.
Right. So they have to look at that.
Something like that, Gaetano.
For 50 million is the rumor.
50 million.
50 million.
That's a lot of money.
So
I don't understand it.
So they have a problem. Juventus got a problem in midfield, and they have a problem in center forward. If Higuain doesn't work out, or if Higuain is going to leave at the end of the year, then they need help in midfield, and they need help as a center forward.
The thing about Milik that doesn't make sense to me is that I don't think, number one, as a player, I like Milik where he is. I think that, he's a good player. I'm not saying it. But does he really raise the level at Juventus? I don't think so. And then when you factor that in with the injuries that he has, I think the risk and reward is not there. I don't think, it's not like, if he stays healthy, we're getting a superstar. It's, if he stays healthy, we're getting a very good player. Is he a player that's worth 50 million based off of what he's done, his injury, all this stuff? I don't think it makes sense. Sarri apparently likes him and he wants to do this. First of all, the allocation needs to go to the midfield before anything else, in my opinion. I think that the attack you could sort out. You could figure out how you're going to play, but the midfield needs to be reinforced before anything. I mean, we saw it was a nightmare when you saw Rabiot, Khedira, and Bernardeschi coming in all three at the same time. It was hilarious, and it was a nightmare. And Sadi even said that he messed up afterwards. He said, I got too excited by having 5 substitutions. But you put those 3 in, and you say, this is Juventus. This is the Juventus. Those guys are Rabiot's very overpaid, 7 million euros a year. It's absurd. But yeah, I won't say Dybala played well. The 3 players I would say, and it's the last thing I'll say about the game, I thought Bentancur played a really good game. Very, very good. And then Romagnoli and Donnarumma. I think those are the only 3 that were there to play. The rest were kind of just there. Peter, what do you think about the match? Anything?
No, I mean, I would say, okay, the
Or
first...
whatever you want to comment on.
Yeah. So the first 16 minutes, definitely Juventus dominated. Then right after the red card, we got the old theme of Sarri's Juventus, that whenever they don't have to push, right, they don't push. So they try to manage the game and micromanage the game, so that way they knew that, right, Milan probably not going to have any real chance of scoring. We're going to control the game. If the goal comes, we'll be patient enough and we'll score it. If not, we're okay with the draw. So this is, a problem.
They were pushing, Pete. They were pushing.
Yeah, but they didn't. Listen, Juventus, if they had to push, they would have done a lot more. So I think they were controlling the game more than anything else. That being said, Milan, I mean, they did as much as they could with 10 men. They tried to get up the field in the counterattack. I'm surprised Leao didn't get in a little bit earlier. They put him in the second half. So, Milan, there's really not much that you can say about what they did. Listen, they put in an effort. It sucks that when you're down one person. And Gaetano's idea, listen, for a purist, it's hard because you say it's going to change the idea of the game and what it means.
Changes everything.
Because now what I was saying, one of my questions to it was, okay, at that point then, kind of how in hockey you can have, they call him the goon, right? The guy that goes out to hurt somebody, right? You could have that in soccer if he can go out there,
No, but my
play
point
a
is
little bit
this.
hard,
No,
play
my point
hard,
is this. Gaetano, go ahead.
or play hard, and really there's no...
I'm going to respond.
Okay, but there's no consequence for it. Yes, he goes out, but then there's another person that comes in. So you can intimidate the other team maybe a little bit more. That being said, but what I like about it is that the game doesn't change. Like we said, one stupid thing can happen, and now the whole game is destroyed for the entertainment purpose, but also for the game itself.
That's a great point. I agree with you, but here's my point.
It is a valid point. It's very valid.
How the hell now we are introducing, because of the Campionato of the VAR, for people that have been in quarantine for 3 months, they were just basically playing video games and eating potato chips, whatever they were doing. So now all of a sudden we're introducing 5 substitutions. So it's okay to start with something that has never been tried. We do it on the Serie A. Gaetano had a great suggestion. Let me just say this. For any team that brings in a butcher, like you say, just to be the guy that is going to just the disruptor or whatever, the animal. Let's call it the animal. So it's, yes, good in terms of some mentality. So let's go to the best player. Let's just see if we can, take him out. And then, we take the penalty. Meaning the penalty means me will be 10 minutes minor. And you out of the game, but you can bring somebody else. You're not supposed to have 20 butchers over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying going out to hurt somebody. The game changes. Like now, the tactical fouls, you'll do it twice because, okay, you maybe don't want to get out of the game, but then there's no real consequence. So if I'm going to stop the goal from scoring, I'll pull the guy's shirt and I'll get the yellow.
You get somebody out for 10 minutes.
If you do your way, yes.
Yeah,
if you do your way, there's a 10-minute consequence.
My way will be to take somebody out for 10 or 15 minutes. Like in hockey, they have a minor, which is 2 minutes, and then 5 minutes, or you can be out of the game. So you don't understand that?
I don't like this idea.
Well, I don't like that. Let me just say it. So I don't like the idea of this 5 substitution because,
No, I don't think anybody really does.
Yeah,
I think they just did it because they're going to have a lot of games. So you need...
Still.
Anyway,
I think I like the idea, just the concept that Gaetano planted the seed today. This seed, believe it or not, is going to start to open discussion. It's like a virus. But Gaetano just said last Wednesday, Saturday, it's like a virus. So this thing here of the eliminated this 100% that you go on with a red card, maybe it's going to make the people think. Look,
all right, so
the game gets out of hand.
2 things on what he said. One, why don't they do it now? Why don't you do it now? If you have a butcher, why don't you put a butcher on Messi and get him out of the game?
Right.
I think you'd rather play 11 against 10 and have Messi out of the game.
Right.
Get him out of the, if the mentality is, okay, I'm going to have a butcher to get somebody out, to get their best players, why isn't it then not now? That's one thing. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you can do is with the red card is hit him where it hurts. You put a fine on the player. Not give him 3 weeks. We're not interested in the player being out for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Because we don't want to, if somebody is really good, right? You want him to play. Sure. You have to, you want the players to be there. Money. Mm-hmm. Give them a fine, and you'll see how they change their mind.
Another great point.
Once they get hit in the pocket.
Yeah. It's 2 seeds right now. First seed. I'm serious. No, it's an excellent point.
We're going to have a tree real soon.
Excellent point. First seed. Nobody should be taken out of the game for 100% of the time, so the game doesn't get falsated. It's like it becomes a false game. And number two, find them and just take them out maybe for.
But that's a good response, how to control. But as far as the butcher, that's more what Antonio's. I was saying more as far as like the physicality of the game, because then you have. Well, it's great that it gets more physical, but then also there's an injury concern. There's other stuff that is involved because you make the game that much more.
At that level, there is respect. There is respect among players. If they know that you're doing something like that, if they know that every team has got one of those guys, believe me, they address those things beforehand. Anyway, said, okay, you guys do this.
Just to say, it's not that we're saying that it needs to be changed tomorrow morning. It's just an idea. It's not. Nobody's saying it has to be done right now. It's just a talking point. Whether you agree, everybody's going to disagree. Everybody's going to agree.
Today, which day is today? The 15th? Yes. June 15th. I make a prediction for you. This thing here, next year is going to be implemented.
Next year?
No, I don't
think next year.
But
if you're right, congratulations.
I had another radical idea, and this is something that's actually it's in the book, the law book, as far as the indirect foul within the penalty box. So, I mean, just go to this case
We're
over
ready
here.
to piss off everybody today.
Where this, this is definitely, by the rule, it's a handball, it's a penalty. By all means, I'm not saying that it's not, because he opens up, he makes the movement, makes himself bigger. Whatever angle you want to hit it, it was. But in that very position, right, does Cristiano Ronaldo have a direct chance on goal, right? Why then are we penalizing something that the ball's bouncing all over the place, and he probably is not going to score at that chance? We're giving a penalty for it, Or if somebody's on his way out of the box, gets clipped and gets fouled, it'll still be a penalty because it was inside the box. Why not? We should try to evaluate what is a goal-scoring chance, and if it's a clear goal-scoring chance, or if it's just a regular foul and you call it indirect foul within the penalty.
To be honest, I've always said, and I understand where you're coming from, and I do agree.
I think it's a good point, too.
The only thing is
3 seeds so far.
3
seeds, I think it's a good point.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying I disagree. The thing is, I think the first step in all this is we need to stop calling so many things as some of these calls, these penalty calls. And I think that will help eliminate a lot of the things that are happening. Because I do agree with you. I say, did he have a goal-scoring opportunity? No. Did he? Did he really? It's really not a clear. You're giving such an unfair advantage for something that. Okay, let's say the probability of Cristiano for scoring on that, 10%, 15%, versus now you give him a penalty kick. What is it? 90%, whatever it is. The ratio is a little bit too high, and there's even cases like remember De Ligt. He was running back one way, hits him on the arm. The ball is in. Nobody's gonna get the ball. You just went from a 3% chance of a goal-scoring opportunity to 90% chance, which maybe your solution is right of you give this indirect. There needs to be something to combat this. My first step, and I'm very adamant on it, the game is too soft. The game is really, really too soft right now. And we're only going to get to a worse place. As I say this, I repeat this many times, I go back, I watched the game from 2000. It was so much nicer. I see myself being less and less interested in the game because I'm watching these guys dive all over the place. And the problem is, I understand they want to help their team win, but the more they dive and the more we let people get away with it, the worse it's going to become. It's constantly trickling down to this point where you look to cheat more than you look to do anything else, and I think that's a scary place.
Let me pick up on what Pete said before because I want to just strike this point here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think what Pete is watching. I think he's watching basketball. In basketball, there is a game. During the game, if you are on a direct path, you are into the off side of the other player, and somebody breaks through. It's just he has the straight path straight to the basket, and nobody else is there, and they grab him. First of all, they give him the 2 shots, and then ball possession again. Right, Pete? Mm-hmm. On a direct path, you get the 2 free throws, and then you get even the ball possession. So in other words, not only you get penalized because the guy was on a clear path, okay, and then you're going to penalize because the possession still goes back to the same team that took the free throws. Now, this is to say again to just reinforce what Peter said. If you are running away, you just with your back on the goal, and you've been tripped. While you had not even the intention to shoot the ball on the net, and somebody trips you while you are into the box, or you're unintentionally, touch your hand, touch the ball with your hands and all the stuff. If the intention of the play was not for the player to just, laser down at the net and say, okay, this is where I wanted to go, there's no penalty.
The thing is, I understand what you're saying.
No
The
penalty.
only thing is, you know, we sound a little bit like we're contradicting ourselves because we've all been here and said we have to eliminate the gray area. We need to eliminate the how you say what your intention was. We've all said it needs to be more black and white, and now we're getting to that. So again, it's not that tomorrow morning we're going to implement these things, but they're just
we planted seeds. We planted seeds. So far, we got 3 seeds over there planted.
So far, we have
Just
3
gonna put
seeds
some water
that
to see if
are.
they
For the
grow.
magic beans.
Yeah.
Their ideas, take them with an open mind. They're not perfect. They're not,
No,
which nothing is perfect. But I think that we always need to look to improve. It's not that I think even opening the discussion, maybe something else is going to come from this. You say one thing and then you think something else happens, and maybe we find another medium. And just to hit on one last comment that I know a lot of people are going to say, they're going to say, this is very American of you guys to try to say that you want to Americanize the sport of how it is. There's many things wrong with that we don't agree with American sports. We've obviously promotion and relegation. So it's not that we're just trying to make it how it is in America. I think that it's much better in Europe, but there are certain aspects to the game that are better here. One of them being video replay, which now we have, and guess what? It's been a good thing. So there are things that we can learn from each other. They can learn, American sports can learn from the European, and the European sports we can learn from the American, and not have this guard up where we think, oh, okay, it's an American sport, we don't want to have it.
By the way, guys,
this
this is an open mind discussion because we don't have teleprompter. So, Pete, you're blocking my teleprompter, by the way. Can you move a little bit? We don't have teleprompter here. We don't prepare anything. This is just pure discussion.
Some of the ideas that come up, some of the great ideas, they came from people put it out there, and at the time that they put it there, it was stupid idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, on the bar while you're having coffee.
And then from that, something else came out,
Exactly.
and it was a good thing. So
Exactly.
It's not that we didn't script anything. Just we come out of here. We have
not
a
ready for a
discussion right
script?
now. No, we don't have anything. The only thing that we have script is this one here. That she's still laughing. By the way.
We're good, guys.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that we had an in person. We've missed this. We've missed culture. We finally have it back again. Wednesday tomorrow, when you're watching this, is the Coppa Italia final. We'll be live on Twitch and we'll be live on.
Coppa Italia final?
No.
Wednesday,
I'm saying it because this video is going to go out tomorrow. We'll be live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're trying to create this pre-game culture show.
Is Twitch our new sponsor?
No, it's a platform. It's like Instagram.
Oh, it's our
That you put content
What's the
on
new
it.
sponsor that we have?
No, we don't have. Not for today's.
Not for
video.
today. Okay.
No. Anyway, we're trying to create a pregame show. Obviously, in America and in Canada and other places, there's no real place for culture fans beforehand to talk about the lineups, to analyze, to have questions answered, and all this kind of stuff. So it's something that we're trying to do and something that we're trying to test. Also, yeah, thank you, Dad, for for having this. He helped set it up. The studio looks very different. I don't think it's the first time we filmed with the new color, the new paint, and everything else different. So, guys, make sure you are following. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you rate the podcast with 5 stars. And also, one question. Do you guys want to see everybody at this table create their own music playlist? It's an idea that we had. I would like to see if people want to know what is Antonio's favorite 50 songs?
I have it.
What's Peter's favorite 50 songs? What's my dad's favorite 50 songs? Whatever. And each week we'll release the playlist on Spotify where you can listen to the podcast too. I think it would be funny. I think it'll be funny.
I think it's a great idea. Maybe you can start with the top 5 songs.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll get a taste of everybody's personality a little bit.
By the way, Wednesday is the finale of Coppa Italia. What about the Campionato?
Then Saturday the game.
Can you just say which game we have?
I'll pop it up on the screen for them. And then
you're gonna pop it?
Yeah, I'll pop it up on the screen.
Let's concentrate on the final.
Any questions?
Let's just hope that Napoli wins and that's it. Let's get it over with.
Oh, prediction. Let's end with a prediction. Okay. Who's winning the Coppa Italia final?
Napoli.
Who's winning?
I just don't want Juventus to win.
Okay. So the only other opportunity,
It could be anybody. For me, the number one was Inter not to win because for me, right there is the
you don't have to tell us that again. We know.
For just that, it's just a win. It's a win for me.
I got you.
But if Juventus doesn't win, it's a double win.
Who's winning?
I think it would be nice for Gattuso to get this win. I think it would be nice for the South to get this win. But Juventus, when it comes to the final, they don't miss.
Not Champions League final.
Yeah, maybe not Champions League.
Well, I'm talking about
stupid cops.
I'm talking about the last 8 years and the Coppa Italia. What is it, 5?
We lost to Milan one year. That was pretty bad. Supercoppa or Coppa Italia? I don't remember. Anyway, my prediction: I think Napoli's going to win it. And even as Juve fan, I would like to see. I would like to see even Napoli win it.
He's learning from the master, right?
For me, it's not that a Coppa Italia. Obviously, you want to win it. I'm not really impressed with Juventus this year. I'm not excited to watch Juventus play at all. I have almost no motivation to watch the team. Hopefully in Champions League they step it up, and hopefully the team does. But guess what? If Napoli win it, I think it will be good for Gattuso, and I'd be very happy for Gattuso. Hopefully they go out and they play.
So
well.
Ludo,
Hopefully we get a good game.
Ludo, we got 4 out of 4 for you. We're all
No.
pulling for Napoli, right?
Not pulling for. He said we said who's going to
He
win.
said he's gonna. He said he will love Napoli.
You're right. Yeah,
He
you
will
are
got
right.
4
You
out
said
of
pulling
4.
for. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
We're pulling.
Prediction was 3 out of 4 though.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Very good.
What do you mean? I want Juventus to win. I didn't say that Juventus is gonna win.
You said Napoli's going to win.
Okay.
Us 3 said Napoli were going to win. He said Juventus was going to win. Understood?
Yes. Yeah.
Quite simple.
Okay, so we're all done.
That's it, yeah.
Listen, guys, keep rating with
Uh-huh.
5, right?
Yeah,
Actually,
5
6
stars.
stars or 10
Go
stars.
for
whatever
6.
you have.
Try for it. Yeah.
Okay, go for 6.
Uh-huh.
Just do we have merchandising for sale?
Yeah, we do.
So, by the way, didn't I do a good job? Look at this, what I did with the wall. I painted the wall. I did everything. I redecorated this office. I kept saying to those guys, we need to do something. So now this place is like it's a showroom. So we got nothing but the best players over there, all signed jersey. We got the Atalanta. We got you name it. We got nothing but all the AC Milan. We got the friends from Philadelphia. We got everybody.
We got
over
everything.
here. So
Good.
We don't want to see too much merchandising, but other than that, looking okay.
As always, guys, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao.
All right.
Ciao.